Hi, everyone, and welcome to the LinkedIn Live Insights from a Headhunter. Today, we have a special guest with us, Ella Orr. She is a social strategy marketing specialist, and she has been she created her own company, much more social, in 2018. And before that, she had a career in teaching, which shows that it's possible to have a new career. And what I love about Ella is that she is always so full of energy and passion about her job, and you can see that she's really living her purpose. So welcome, and today we will talk about career transition and personal branding for women over 40. Welcome, Ella.
Oh, thank you, Tina. It's just wonderful to be here. It's like chatting to an old friend.
It is. And I thought there are so many people who are thinking about changing their jobs, but they feel that is it the right time, or they had a long career, they invested a lot, and is it possible to change it to something totally new? So whom better to ask than Ella?
It was by accident rather than by design, though, Tina.
But aren't the best things in life by accident?
Yes. Yes. Do you want me to explain about how I came to be working in social media marketing?
Yes. Please.
So I mean, this all sort of started in around about 2016, 2017. So we're talking like 5 years ago now. In fact, it would have been 2016 because part of the reason why I thought I needed to change what I was doing was because my mum was very, very ill, and then sadly she passed away. But it just sort of really made me realise that life is very short, and if you want to be happy in life, to sort of try and find ways to make find that happiness, if something is bothering you. And obviously I'd gone through sort of quite a lot of emotional huge emotional trauma with my mum passing. But I just thought I was so sort of down at the time. I kind of thought, what is it that's making me feel so miserable? And it wasn't anything to do with my life at home, or my anything like that. I thought it's my work. It's my work. That is the thing that's making me so unhappy. But then I was sort of stuck in this situation of thinking, I'd been a teacher for 30 years, and I was stuck with just thinking to myself, oh, goodness me, at the time I was in my early 50s. I was 52 at the time. And I thought, why can't I just be happy with my lot? Just stick with the teaching. I know I'm going to get a reasonable pension. I know what to expect. Why am I potentially throwing that all away, which I think is what some people think of when they think about having been in a career for a long time. The thought of,
Security.
yes, it's security, it's that stepping out of our comfort zone, it's that kind of starting again, really, which, I mean, when we get older, we kind of feel that, well, it's like we're not used to that feeling of vulnerability that we had when we were maybe teenagers or in our 20s, first starting out on our career paths. But I was so pleased that I did decide to say, right, yeah, I'm definitely going to change what I'm going to do. But then the next thing that happened was I didn't know what I wanted to do. So and then I literally was I'd had a few careers kind of discussions with people. I'd submitted I mean, we're talking sort of like five years ago, and things have moved on even then, since now, with the way that you can submit your CV, and you can have sort of kind of like the personality testing and all that kind of thing to see whether or not, what job you're best suited to. Ironically, every time I did one of those things, it kept coming back and saying that I should be a teacher. So, so that was kind of awkward. And I thought, well, no, this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to be a supply teacher. I don't want to run my own tutoring agency, which is kind of like crossed my mind. Um, and so I was completely lost. And then one day I was just sitting there and I was scrolling on my phone and I thought, oh, I like going on social media and I like writing and I think I'm pretty good at speaking and communicating. Is there some kind of job that you can do in this? And I literally just found a course as I was Googling and thought, oh, social media marketing. Here's a course, and it was aimed at women. It was aimed at women who were parents, and I have a daughter. And I thought this is kind of this was the kind of like the attraction. There was this kind of like magnetism there. It was like this was meant to be. I was meant to find this. Anyway, then I had that whole thing of, oh, I'm too old. Why on earth would anybody accept me onto a digital marketing course in my early 50s? Anyway, turned out I needn't have had any of those fears, any of those anxieties. I was accepted onto the course. The two women who ran the course, Catherine and Nikki, who are absolutely brilliant. I'm still in contact with them now. They welcomed me. I joined a fantastic cohort for the particular month that my course was starting. And that was it. I did the course for 6 months with a company called Digital Mums.
Oh,
and
wow.
that was how my career sort of. So, well, it wasn't easy from there, but that was how I started with it.
and like you said, we in a way we have to let go of the old beliefs and also the old baggage to take and make space to learn new things, to go forward. And it's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think this is one of the things that as I've gradually sort of grown over the last 4 years is that whole thing about growth, a
Yeah,
growth mindset, and it does require quite you have to overcome those mental barriers, all those that imposter syndrome, if you want to call it that. I mean, people want to call it different things, but we are dreadful as human beings of putting up internal barriers, and being allowing ourselves to believe that other people are thinking things, convincing ourselves that other people are thinking things, when maybe they may not be thinking those things at all. We're very good at paying attention to the wrong kinds of comments.
the negative ones.
The
Yes.
negative ones, indeed. And I think as well, we we do. There is work involved in speaking to the right people, getting involved with the right communities. Um, I'm a great believer in positive attraction. Attracting the positive and repelling the negative. But you have to learn all of that. And I think that's probably where I feel that as a person, I've grown in the last 4 years because I didn't realize how institutionalized I'd become being a teacher. And even though I'd changed my job quite a few times and worked in lots of different education situations, I'd been working in primary schools. I did work in supply teaching. I worked for a couple of education charities. I worked in adult education, community education. I'd still become institutionalized. And so having to sort of like break that mold and break out of it and think, you
Comfort
know,
zone.
I can think for myself. My word. It took me to my 50s to realize that I could think for myself.
Yeah, and it's something, I always tell to people who talk about their job. It's not only about your job. It's your career has such an important impact on you as a person. The energy that you bring home from being working in an environment where you are growing with the learning possibilities, it gives you so much more energy, and that's exactly what I see when I talk to you every time, because it's not somebody. I mean, you have gone through the whole process. You can't buy it anywhere. You really have to do it skill by skill. So it can be scary. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about transferable skills, because we
Yes.
think that everything we did is not relevant for the new career or the new position, but actually there are.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, I think, one of the things that's made me feel so happy and fulfilled in what I'm doing now is that there are so many transferable skills from teaching that you can bring into marketing. I hadn't thought it was that it was actually that clear, but it is, because when effective marketing involves excellent communication. It involves understanding your audience. It involves what the objectives are. What do your customers want to achieve? What, or your clients want to achieve? What do they want to get? What are their goals? What are their pain points? What are the things that you're trying to help transform for them? And that's exactly the same with being a teacher. When you have students, you're trying to take them from one place to another. You're trying to, take them along that journey so that they can achieve whatever that goal is. It could be passing an exam, it could be achieving a certificate, it could just be the fact that they're just learning a new skill. But it's objective driven, and so I hadn't realized that there were these skills in terms of teaching that I could bring, in terms of thinking about the planning that was involved in marketing, the coming up with ideas. I mean, you've got to have lots of ideas as a teacher, and you have to have those ideas as well when you're a marketer. You have to be able to think strategically. You have to be able to work to time, a time frame, and think about, where different parts of the puzzle are going to fit in, where the different. So if you're thinking about your lessons as a teacher, or when I was thinking about my lessons as a teacher, it's the same in terms of implementing the way that you plan content, and when it's going to be created, and when it's going to be distributed, out through your channels. And then obviously the whole kind of analysis afterwards. It's the same from teaching. When you're looking at you're doing you're a teacher. You're looking at results, and you're sort of planning what's going to happen next as a result of those seeing those results. So you're doing your analysis, and it's the same in marketing. You're testing, you're measuring, you're reviewing, and then thinking, right, what are we going to do next? So in a way, it was so obvious that these skills were transferable, but it took me I actually had to do it to realize it. That was what was bizarre to me.
Yeah, and the way you put it, it's exactly what job seekers can put in their CVs as well, with storytelling. Show that with this experience that I did there, it could be useful in this new career. So
Yes.
understanding and realizing and being able to communicate, that's the most important thing.
Yes. Do you advise people about using the STAR model?
Always. Yeah. Because it's so easy to talk fluffy and lose the hiring manager's interest, but what they want to see is the skills that are needed for the job, the specific task,
Yeah.
and what are your experiences. So really
Yes.
putting everything in context and going to the point with the achievements. That's
Yeah.
what people want to hear,
Yes.
to be
Yes.
honest.
Yeah. And I mean, I had to use those situations a lot to begin with when I was first going for roles, because I didn't have any. I didn't know anybody from marketing. I had no experience of having done any kind of sort of voluntary work or anything in a marketing or a PR situation. I didn't have any, apart from the people on the course who I'd been on the course with. I didn't have anybody who was going to be able to, you know, get a lead for me, or find, open a door for me for an opportunity. So when I was going for marketing, social media marketing roles to begin with, and it was really tough. It was tough because I didn't have any experience, but I really had to rely on that star model, what I'd done in teaching, what the situation was, what the task was, how I had executed it, how I and what the results were.
Yeah.
It was I just had to use that a lot. So I mean, I would definitely say for people who are thinking, right, well, how on earth can I move from one career to another? Just think about everything that you have done, everything that you have achieved. Get it all down on a piece of paper. Everything that you've done, that's where you've it's been a success, your success stories, but also ones where it's been a challenge and maybe things didn't turn out as well as you wanted them to, or with the same expectation. But all of that is relevant for when you're thinking about moving into a new career.
I got a question earlier today. Let me see. Um, how do I prepare for my career transition, upskill myself from HR to digital content? And I was like, oh, I'm from HR, but I don't know anything about digital content. So I will ask Ella.
I didn't know anything about digital content 4 years ago.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I would definitely say, I mean, even though I did the course, the course was very much aimed just at social media marketing. And obviously, when you do a course, there's only a certain amount of learning that you can achieve in 6 months. So once I'd done the course, one of the things I've really learned from is by being on, I mean, I say social media is my thing, but it doesn't necessarily need to be social media. But you certainly need to immerse yourself in whatever it is that you are transitioning into. So you have to set time aside to do the learning. Learning is how we move on, and that's how I've learned. I mean, I remember 4 years ago not knowing a thing about Instagram, not a thing. And now, I mean, I don't claim to be an Instagram specialist, but I know sufficiently enough to be able to create content for Instagram, to know about, what the role of the hashtags is, to know what content works well, to know what the insights and the analytics are, and so forth. But I've only done that by being on Instagram and using it. So I think, whatever digital upskilling you need to do, you need to be immersing yourself in whatever it is that you are upskilling into. So in terms of digital or content, I'd say in terms of email marketing, that's digital or SEO or whatever. Read a few blog posts, follow some very good people on YouTube. There's some excellent content on there. Join some webinars. But I mean, I wouldn't follow too many people. I mean, if you can find free webinars, then you get a good idea about whether or not you actually like the person who's delivering the learning, delivering the teaching. But also, if you get yourself involved in communities, like if you're in a LinkedIn group or you're in a Facebook group, there can be some very, very good groups where you can learn from other people and learn from your peers. That's what I would definitely say. I mean, I'm connected with some amazing people, including you, Tina, and I just know that I've learned so much from the people who I'm connected with. It's not just about the fact that they're nice people; it's about the fact they've got incredible expertise. So
I think it's so true what you said about immersion. It's the only thing I can relate to is learning another language as an adult, which is a new skill. You don't have anything to rely on, or uh, totally out of your comfort zone, and just doing the mistakes, I mean, learning lessons is the best way
yeah,
and the quickest. So if you emerge full on and that's the best way to do it. And talking
Yes.
about community, we have Varsha, who is joining us from India. It's already very late there. Hi. Thank you so much for
Hi,
joining
Barsha.
us. And we have Gitu. I hope we could answer the question. Glad to hear great thoughts from lovely ladies. Thank you. And we also have John Espirian joining us. Love to see you both, Tina and Ella.
Team Blue Yeti.
High five. And Cleona, it's so true that it's tough to start over.
It yes, yeah, it is. Do you want me to pick up on that at all,
Yeah.
Tina?
Nobody
It
said it's easy, did we?
No one said it's easy, and the thing is, I think, you have to think about what what your motivation is. I mean, and you do have to really dig deep in terms of that motivation. I mean, I was in the fortunate position that I could afford to pay for the course that I went on. It wasn't that expensive, but it wasn't cheap. But so I think you've got to sort of like be in a financial position where you can either do training. And funnily enough, Tina and I were talking about training before we came on the call, and we were saying, you do need to be able to have the financial backing to be able to invest in yourself. So that can be a real challenge. But I think, if I mean, you know, if you are budgeting, and you're budgeting for running your home, your domestic life and whatever, your holidays and whatever, so why not budget for your career as well? And that is one thing you really do need to do if you're going to transition into a career, and you are going to do courses, and you're going to want to buy books and go to conferences. I mean, going to conferences is such a brilliant way to not only learn from the speakers, but also to network with people who are also going to enhance your learning and your community. But if you can set a budget for that, if you invest in yourself, honestly, you are going to get to from A to B quicker. You would say that, wouldn't you, Tina? I think you'd agree with that.
Yes, exactly. If somebody is coming to me saying that they are lacking like digital marketing skills, but have other marketing skills, and they have taken a course in digital marketing recently, to, that already shows a signal to the company that I'm willing to invest in myself.
Yeah.
Are you willing to invest in me? And then it's easier to say yes to that.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and something that I always also want to talk about is that there are internal opportunities. And in companies, if you're choosing to go for a new company, ask which learning opportunities there are, because there are companies that will offer you courses that it doesn't show in your paycheck, but it will be so much valuable for the future of your career. So that's also something that I wanted to ask you. When we talk about personal branding, is it important for internal positions as well?
Definitely. I mean, the thing is that we're in a very competitive world. We know that, and people are wanting to work for longer as
Yeah.
well. So so the competition. I mean, you feel it's understandable. There's going to be competition when you're younger. If you're working your way up the promotion ladder and whatever, when you're in your 20s and your 30s and so forth, it's kind of like feels like a more of a natural kind of progression to do that. But it's just as important for us when we get older, and we still want to feel fulfilled. We still feel we've got so much to give. Working, being fulfilled, it's in your work. It's not necessarily for everybody, but for us who are watching this call today, and for Tina and myself, it's really it's a part of who we are. It's so important for that kind of holistic feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment and happiness in life, inner happiness in life. So if you are an older person and you're sort of thinking to yourself, oh, I'm going to be competing against all these potentially younger people, and that was the case. That's been the case for me, because I'm obviously working in what's considered to be quite a young person's career, a young person's industry. Then this is why I worked on my personal brand, because I thought, I know I'm not necessarily going to be attracting the Gen Zers and the millennials, but there's going to be plenty of business people who are my age, or maybe in their 40s or whatever, who may think, oh yeah, actually I'd like to work with somebody who's a bit older, a bit more mature, has got life experience, has got 30 years of previous skills in teaching. So I think that's why personal branding is so important, in that it helps you, to put yourself out there, to be visible, to show up as you authentically truly are as well. And I think that matters so much these days, to be real, to be human, to be personable. And that's where the personal brand piece comes in. And I know some people don't like that word, personal brand. If I could find a way to change it, I'm planning to run a poll, Tina, perhaps on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or wherever, to ask people what else they would like to call it, because I think the word personal branding is very much a kind of like marketer's phrase. But I understand
Yes.
the concept so well, and I think the concept of us using everything that we have got in our life, that that we want to talk about, we want to celebrate, we want to share with other people, the skills, the experience, the knowledge, the values that we bring. That's what personal branding is about. And I think it matters just as much for people who are trying to stand out from the competition when they're going for an internal promotion, as it matters for if you're trying to run your own business, or you've got entrepreneurial goals or whatever.
Definitely. And I also heard the feedback from people who, so the opposite probably is the personal hiding. So if you come out and share your knowledge in a personal way, then in large companies, everybody doesn't know you, honestly. But if you stand out, maybe on LinkedIn, then you also get visibility internally in your own company. So it totally pays off to do personal branding. And we're not only talking about colors. It's really how you show up, and how you share your knowledge.
Yeah, this is the thing, I mean, a lot of people think of branding being about your colors, your fonts, your logo, the name of your business, that kind of thing. But it's as I say, it's something a lot more focused than that. It really is about who you are, how you talk to people, how you communicate with them, how you share what's important to you with them. And I think that, in honesty as well, I have to say, you're not going to be, as we say here in the UK, everyone's cup of tea. You won't be everyone's cup of tea. But then, this is what this is what makes you connect with the people who really want to hear from you. If you're honest and you're open, and you're not controversial or things like that, you don't say things that are dodgy or whatever, but if you can show up as honestly as possible in what you believe in and what you value, and you do it consistently everywhere that you are, not just online, but when you go to networking, when you go to events, when people meet you in person. I mean, can be nothing nicer, can there, than when somebody says, oh, you're exactly the same as you are on LinkedIn, or you're exactly the same as when I saw you doing that silly dance on Instagram Reels or whatever it was. So that's authenticity. But I do really, really think that don't try to be the everything to everybody. That's the word I want to phrase. I want to use. Don't try to, because you're going to fall flat on your face, and that's why I think you just have to speak from here as well as from up here. And don't get too over bored with the emotion, because at the end of the day, if you want to present a professional face, and a professional approach, a professional attitude, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't speak from the heart at times. I think that's probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's how you connect with other people. And before we close for today, we have more comments here from
Oh,
Felipe Confino. Two amazing people. Love to see you, Tina and Ella, sharing your insights. Such valuable advice.
thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you. And glad to see my question being answered. Very happy to help you here. Lavinia has also joined us. Such an inspiring transformation, Ella. It truly is. Thank you for not pretending that this
Yeah.
can be done overnight with guaranteed success. That's
Mm,
exactly. This is the real deal. So glad I tuned in to listen to both of you. Thank you. Thank you for
thank you.
joining us.
Yeah.
And also Cleona is saying thank you, and Varsha. Thank you everyone who joined us. Are there final words that you would like to say? Um, Final tips for
Yeah.
uh, when it comes to personal branding, and
Yeah. Transitioning. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I would say, Tina, the first thing to do is, if you are really thinking about this, is to go away and give it some thought, and even that is a process that takes time. You're not going to just write down everything straight away, but keep a notebook, or however you want to record it, of all the things that you enjoy about your work, the things that make you feel fulfilled, your successes, what you feel your skills are, and especially what you feel that you do that's uniquely special about what you do. It could be communication, it could be the fact that you're very good at analytics, it could be you're very good at planning, or whatever. You're an creative ideas person, whatever. But I would say, get all of that written down. Ask your associates as well, and your friends, and maybe people who are close to you, who you trust, what they see as your strengths. Write that all down. Keep that in mind, and remember that whatever you choose to transition to in terms of your career, whatever it is that you're thinking about moving to, it's your journey. So don't compare yourself to anybody else. You've got to stay in your own lane. That's one of the reasons that I feel, managed to stay doing this for 4 years and not given up. It could have been, and this is where Lavinia is so right. There's so many times when I could have just thought, oh, I'll go back to teaching. I'm not, I'm not doing what that person's doing. I'm not achieving that. I'm not making that amount of money or whatever. But I've stuck in my own lane. I know, what I'm good at, what my strengths are. And you will know that too. So I say, stay in your own lane. It's your journey. Don't get distracted by other people. And, talk to people, get support from people, make friends. And honestly, those people will come out and be your cheerleaders, just like Tina and I have been for each other. So I hope that summarizes enough, Tina.
it really does, and it's so much easier for people outside the jar see the label. So ask other people, and I'm so happy to be witnessing your journey, and I'm cheering on your success. It really makes me happy, and I want to tell everyone to follow Ella, and if you want, send a personalized connection
Yeah.
request to her. And she has a really lovely newsletter. I'm also receiving that one from Much More Social. Go to her website, sign up, because it, it really speaks, or it's written like with your heart, and we need that kind of sunshine in our life. So thank you so much
Oh,
for
thanks,
joining us.
Tina. Thank you. I've really, really enjoyed it. And thank you to everybody else who's joined us too. It's been lovely. Thank you very much, Tina.
Thank you, everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye.